There are 7 Roblox games that, despite being loved by many, failed horribly. And today, we'll be discussing all of them, starting off with Anime Adventures. Developed by Gamu, Anime Adventures is a tower defense game where you use popular anime characters from Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and other shows to protect your base from waves of enemies. Similar to other tower defense games, the players earn gems by defeating the enemies and bosses, which they can then use to summon heroes for support. The game was a massive hit, with many hopping in to play using their favorite anime characters. And the hype around the game grew even more when famous YouTubers started playing it, making it one of the most talked about games in the Roblox community. But on December 21, 2023, the game would suddenly disappear from the Roblox homepage. It was revealed that the game was shut down due to a DMCA takedown request by GameFam on behalf of the popular anime streaming site Crunchyroll. Since the game was using assets and IP from another anime-themed game, My Hero Academia, the developers had to comply and temporarily take down the game from the platform. However, the developers promised that the game would be back, which gave the fans a sense of relief. But the game was not re-released even after a year, as many started questioning the intention of the developers. It was later revealed that the developers had actually resolved the DMCA strike within 2 days. However, due to the fear of being sued, the game never made a comeback. But the real concern for many gamers isn't just about missed releases. It's the constant battle with lag that can ruin the experience. But I have a tool that can help you achieve a lag-free gaming experience. A lot of players quit playing after encountering lag or high packet loss on the games they play, whether due to poor connection or optimization. And if you come across the same problem, you can just launch Gear Up, and with the click of a button, you can easily have an optimized network for all the games you play on the platform. Of course, if you play Roblox on your phone, it also has a mobile version, which covers all the bases. Gear Up is also used by many famous influencers in Roblox like Humbled, Mag, Uzoth, and many more. And so it's a software that you can truly trust. So if you want low ping with just a click of a button, be sure to check out our sponsor, Gear Up, using the link in the description. Now, back to the video. After knowing this, many fans were furious and disappointed, especially those who had spent a ton of Robux in buying in-game purchases. I spent over 250,000 Robux! Why the f*** did they delete it? I want my Robux back from Anime Adventures. Seeing this, some of the staff from Anime Adventures started working on a new game called Anime Vanguards, which looks similar to the original. However, things aren't looking great for players who spent Robux on Anime Adventures, as they probably won't get it back. As players wait for Anime Vanguard's release, the next game on the list failed to make its comeback due to one of the most common problems that every Roblox game goes through. Released on September 3, 2018. Camping is a horror-style story game developed by Samson16. The game is about a group of players camping out in a place called Specky Woods, with the main objective of surviving for 3 days and nights before the monsters catch you. In order to survive, players have to use items like medkits, flashlights, and lucky coins scattered around the map to help them stay alive. However, what made the game unique was its unpredictability, as it was one of the very few story games with an interactive gameplay. Not only that, players also get to interact with the story through their characters. After the success of Camping, Samson16 would go on to release 4 more games: Camping 2, Hotel, Mansion, and finally Armageddon. It took 2 more years before he finally released the last game of the Camping series. But by then, the story genre on Roblox had become saturated with new games that often felt like clones or rip-offs of camping games. Since most of his games started getting repetitive, players started to shift to other experiences like Break-In and Attack on Albert, which had a better story and gameplay. Despite this, Camping still holds a special place in the heart of many players as the game that revolutionized the story game genre in the Roblox community. But the next game was so violent and disturbing that Roblox literally had to take it down not once, but twice. And the game we're talking about is Robo. Developed by Meme Nikoi, Robo is a scientific experimentation game that became popular due to its controversial gameplay and mechanics. In the game, the players take the role of scientists with the objective of using the test subjects as guinea pigs by injecting different kinds of fluids, causing them to transform and disfigure randomly. Despite its controversial nature, the game gained massive popularity with Roblox content creators like Flamingo creating videos on the game, drawing in tons of players. But the game's portrayal of disturbing experiments didn't go well with the moderation team, leading to the game getting banned from the platform. This didn't stop Meme Nikoi from releasing a new and updated version by renaming the test subjects to inmates and a couple of other changes. However, his efforts would go in vain as the moderation team found this was also in violation of the policies, and the game was taken down again. Unsurprisingly, ever since the game's removals, developers started creating Robo spin-offs, with many creating games based on memes and other popular trends. However, the players weren't impressed as they found the games totally different and lacked the appeal of the original, with one stating, "I personally found Robo really fun, but I no longer really have interest in these games because they are usually only meme viruses. It's really annoying when the game is just jokes and completely unserious." So, on September 25, 2018, Meme Nikoi released the third and final version, Ranic, which totally replaced the test subjects from humans to robots. There were a lot of expectations from fans as the game was developed by the same developer of the original hit. However, the game fell flat and players didn't show the same level of support as they did with Robo, as it struggles to even reach 50 active players. But the next game on the list saw its downfall after the developer was accused of multiple controversies. Repo Minigames is a popular Roblox game full of minigames with the players having to survive till the end to win. The game was developed by Repo, who began his journey way back in 2008. After the success of Repo Minigames, he started working on his next project, Rovive, which was inspired by the popular game Rust. But this was when everything started to fall apart. On August 14, 2021, a Twitter user, Psycam, posted a tweet accusing Repo of scamming the developers who were working on his project. According to the user, the developers were promised compensation even if the games didn't make it to the public. However, after a year of hard work, the developers didn't receive any payment for their work. And, to make matters worse, Repo also cut off all communication and even left the Discord server of the developers. However, on April 29th, 2022, the Roblox RTC Twitter put out a tweet announcing that Repo had deleted his Roblox account and left the internet for good. This was a shocker for many as people genuinely loved his minigames, which also left many wondering what made him take such a step. Soon after, a YouTuber named Bling McQueen would release a video titled The Repo Allegations. In the video, he addressed multiple allegations about Repo, including him talking inappropriately to someone not of age. This was supported by another YouTuber, Schlep, who also came out with more evidence backing up the claim. Until now, Repo has failed to respond to the allegations, as even his once popular game with more than 300 million visits struggles to attract more than 10 active players. But the next game we're covering is no different, as it quickly went from being one of the most loved games to nothing more than a cheap clone due to excessive greed of the developers. Released on February 10th, 2018. Mining Simulator is a game where players mine blocks, sell them for coins, and use those coins to buy better tools and accessories, which give varying buffs to players. It was one of the very first games developed by Rumble Studios, who would release a ton of games later on. With the success of Mining Simulator, the developers decided to release a new game, Bubblegum Simulator. The game took the world by storm, as it quickly surpassed Mining Simulator in terms of both the active player count and number of visits, making it one of Rumble Studios' biggest games. After a couple of other releases, Rumble Studios announced that they were working on the sequel to Mining Simulator, Mining Simulator 2. Initially, players were thrilled as they got to play a new version of their favorite game, hoping there would be new features in it. However, the excitement quickly faded when the game looked like a clone of Bubblegum Simulator. With the addition of eggs and other similar features, the fans felt that it was more of an egg opening simulator than a mining simulator. The game quickly fell off as many saw it as a copycat rather than a new experience that many Roblox games are guilty of. Not only that, just 4 months after the sequel's release, the original mining simulator stopped receiving updates as Rumble Studios shifted their focus to new games. Even now, it still maintains a low player base with an average of around 500 active users when compared to its all-time peak reaching thousands of players. But the next game failed to maintain its momentum, despite having a great start as it eventually took down the entire company with it. Overlook Bay is a Roblox game which was inspired by popular experience games like Welcome to Bloxburg and Adopt Me. It was developed by Wonderworks Studio along with the star creator Megan Plays. In the game, players can adopt pets, explore the world, and complete quests, making it one of the top Roblox games at the time. As the game grew in popularity, Wonderworks Studio announced that they would be releasing an improved version of Overlook Bay, Overlook Bay RP. However, this decision would turn out to be a big mistake. When the game was finally released, many players started to leave the game as most of them lost their levels and other features that they had in the original game, along with several bugs that ruined the player experience. So, with no other option, the developers had to bring back the original game. But even that didn't go smoothly, as the re-released version wiped the data of many players, causing them to lose all of their items. On top of that, the repetitive nature of the gameplay made it boring for players who were used to similar games like Adopt Me. So, on September 21st, 2023, Wonderworks Studio released the sequel of the Overlook Bay series, Overlook Bay 2. However, the game never lived up to its expectations, garnering only 5 million visits and earning the reputation as one of the worst sequel games in Roblox history. However, despite being one of the biggest FPS games, the game we're talking about next would simply come crashing down because the developers simply got bored of it. Counterblocks is a first-person shooter game that was inspired by Counter-Strike: Global Offensive. The game mostly catered to a younger audience who were cut off from the experience of FPS games, making it one of the fastest-growing games in the platform. Later, a remastered version was released as the game would get its very own competitive league, which supported young players to showcase their skills to the world. But on July 11, 2022, the game was temporarily closed after a source code leak, with one of the members from the Rolf team stating, "We intend on bringing the game back, but it will take some time. We have no intentions of just letting the game fester, so I kindly ask for your patience." However, these kinds of issues weren't entirely new, as right from the start, the game has been criticized for being a ripoff of CSGO, with many calling out the developers for lack of originality, even though it successfully replicated most of the aspects of CSGO, which includes gameplay mechanics, weapons, and maps. It also failed to bring in new features that made it completely unique. The lack of originality and innovation made it extremely vulnerable when CSGO announced that they will be free to play. This made it easier for the players to choose, as there were very few reasons to pick Counterblocks over the original. Not only that, the rise of hacking and cheating was so common that a lot of servers had at least one or more players using hacks. But the final nail in the coffin was when the developers began to ignore their audience, shifting their focus to their dream project, a game that would eventually go on to win the Roblox Game of the Year award. If you're wondering what happened to Counterblocks and which game ended up completely replacing it, click the video on the screen to find out.